You know what? There will never be a more fun transition than the one I'm about to do here from a guy who literally writes books about defensive schematics in football to somebody who has made a career of making people laugh as a stand-up comic. Dustin Nickerson, born in the Seattle area, has been gone on the Tonight Show, the Late Late Show, and now his career is finally at its pinnacle as he joins Hawk Blogger Mornings. Dustin Nickerson, how are you doing this morning?
Good. I wasn't sure where you were going with the pinnacle thing. I was like, oh no, did I peak? Is this my moment? Because, they never tell you in comedy or any career when you're at your peak. But no, now that I'm on Hawk Blogger, that does check out. This was it. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Kevin Hart. All my appearances on your dog. This is it. I'm on with Hawk Blogger.
For folks that don't know you, I've got to share. There was a couple clips that really made me laugh, as so many do. This is you talking about being faithful to your wife and why.
Very early on in our marriage, telling my wife that she never had to worry about me being unfaithful, no matter what. And she goes, well, how could you ever know that? And I go, honey, because I, for 40 years, have been a fan of the Seattle Mariners. And if I have not left them, then I will never leave you. You could never hurt me in the way they have hurt me. Never. Every season for my entire life, for me, has ended like Brokeback Mountain. With me just screaming, I wish I knew how to quit you. I remember
Dustin, spoken like a true Seattle sports fan. Tell me the when that joke came to you. How did you make that connection?
Oh yeah, gosh, I don't even know. I think I just lived it for 40 years, and then I think my wife does. It did come from my wife just seeing the agony and seeing the commitment and her, even whether she articulated it emotionally or verbally, just knowing like, man, I mean, if she realized it first, I could never, there's nothing I could do that would hurt him like this team does every year. And yet every spring you're like, this is the year, even when it's not, in your heart, it's not, you're like, oh, so yeah, I think I just lived that one for the last 20 years of her observing my faithful, true to the blue, true to you, I think is how I coined it on Twitter.
It's so funny because I was just talking to a buddy the other day that was in a relationship, and I was like, you know what? I was joking with him that his girlfriend should put on a Mariners jersey, and he's like, there's no way she will ever do that. She's a tried and true St. Louis Cardinals fan. And I'm like, you know what? The most underrated attribute I think out there, like the green flag, is loyalty. And I'm not talking about loyalty to, I'm a Lakers fan and a Yankees fan and whatever always wins. I'm talking about loyalty to a team that you go through thick and thin with.
Yeah, I mean, everybody hates the Dodgers, right? Understandably so. But as someone who is Hollywood adjacent, which is what I always call myself, I always say I have 1 foot on the red carpet and 1 foot in the school drop-off line. Like that's where I stand. Is the main reason that I hate the Dodgers is because, yes, of course, they have a million great Dodgers fans out there who are born and raised in LA, in the Valley, wherever it may be. But they also have their fan base as people that just moved to LA and bought a Dodgers hat. And they just have some dad in Milwaukee who's been crying over the Brewers for his entire life. And now he sees his daughter or his son move to go be a waiter / Uber driver / actor and just give up on the team altogether because they're, oh yeah, we could go to the Dodgers game. So yeah, I totally agree. Either, commit to a team or just don't commit to the sport at all. That being said, I actually really enjoy watching the games with my wife because she does almost, it's like the Super Bowl party that she, even though she's not a big fan, she does love commercials. And so I'm like, all right, I mean, it's oddly good to watch the game with someone who doesn't care as much, because it does put you a little bit of like, all right, well, maybe it's a Tuesday in July, Dustin. Let's not get too mad at Dan Wilson's decision right now. It's a Tuesday in July. Let's relax.
Yeah. How are you doing? I think everybody's coping in some way or another. How are you doing after this recent defeat?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give the Mariners credit. This is the latest in October they've ever hurt me. You know, which is a weird feeling. I mean, you may have seen me talk about this online and stuff, but I have a gig this weekend in Seattle at the Neptune, October 25th. And it never even, I'm a big sports fan, like not nitty gritty X's and O's the way that you are and that other commentators. I'm a fan. I wouldn't, I don't care. I don't dive deep into analysis. I'm not gonna, I'm just here to be a fan. I don't even really want to meet the players. Like if you could be like, hey, you want to go party in the clubhouse? I'm a fan. I belong in the stands. This is where I'm at. I also, if I want to get mad at Canzone one day, I don't want to be like, that's my buddy who I met.
I know the feeling.
I don't want. Yeah. So I like to remain objective in that term, in that way. But it never even crossed my brain that in 40 years of fandom that maybe there would be a conflict with the Seattle Mariners. I was like, okay, well, hopefully we'll get lucky. And it'll be a Friday or a big noon kickoff for the Huskies. But I don't have, Huskies don't unite the area the way that the Mariners do. And then the Seahawks will play Sunday or Monday or Thursday. And it never even crossed my mind that there would be a conflict. And unfortunately, I was correct. Unfortunately.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you're gonna be at the Neptune in 3 days. Yes, the 25th. And tickets still available. So make sure folks go over there.
For the 3:30, the 7:30 sold out. So if you're looking for that matinee grandparent show, which a lot of my fans are parents, so they're all for it.
You know what, Dustin? That's part of what drew me to your comedy in the first place. Is I feel like I am your demographic, and you make Costco jokes, and as somebody who literally is like, there's a cultural phenomenon at Costco where I'm the angry white guy, middle-aged white guy who literally drifts with his cart around corners. Meanwhile, there's like other cultures that it's not a family affair. It's not even like nuclear family. It's like their cousins are there and they take up the entire aisle. It's like,
yeah, it's Disneyland.
You get me. So I loved your clip talking about you doing your show during the 15-inning game and coming off, not knowing what the result was.
That was great.
Like?
Because I was at the San Francisco Punchline, making fun of their sports teams, which is, I always joke, like, listen, 5% of my act is going to be about your sports teams in your city. And the remaining 95% of the act is going to be about being a 40-year-old dad. That's who I am. But I went on and I was in San Francisco and it was fun. It was cool. My son, he's actually goes to college at San Jose State. He's a distance runner there. And so he was visiting and I was like, okay, I'm probably going to miss the end of this game. I just knew there was a chance that and sure enough, I was going on a stage on the 7th inning. I think it was 2-1 when I went on the stage. And no, Rivas had gotten the hit. It was 2-2. It was 2-2 when I went on the stage. And then I got off, and the server guy, the guy who was working the door, he says, held up a sign. He's like, it's still tied. And I was like, it's still tied. Great. I can go watch the rest of the game. I didn't think there was a chance in hell that it would bleed into my second show. That show doesn't even start till 9:30. I don't go on until 10. And I was like, there's no way that this is still going. So, and in a lot of ways, it was a relief. Like I don't think baseball is just meant to be watched that actively. It's too stressful.
It's not.
You're not supposed to watch
not.
every pitch of a baseball game. You're supposed to get there in the second inning, get a beer, grab a hot dog, kind of, okay, the 7, 8, 9 are hitting. Okay, let's do a lap. Let's, there's nothing exciting to see here. And, around the 7th, 8th inning, make a decision of whether or not you're staying the whole game, which is based on whether or not you brought your kids, I think.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so, I had a very specific way that I could watch these playoff games, and the least stressful version of it was that I just didn't watch it at all, and I was on stage doing something that was so engaging that I couldn't even think about the game, because all due respect to my fellow Seahawks and Mariner fans, believe it or not, stand-up comedy does 100% engage your brain up there. I was like, you're checking the score. I'm like, I'm not. I have drunks to dance for.
Yeah, I actually have a question for you about that. Before I do that, I want to play one of your clips. You talk about other fans. This was you in Houston.
Houston, you may not want to hear this, but every time I drive by that stadium downtown, I'm like, what a bunch of cheaters. You liars, you scam artists, you cheaters. Yeah. Oh, I'm not talking about the Astros. I'm talking about Joel Osteen's church. Someone should have hit a trash can for that curveball, huh? Houston, you may not want.
That's a guts. I mean, how much do you just relish those opportunities to go into other cities and just tease them a little bit?
Well, that's the fun thing. Like I was talking to my wife about this. I'm a sports fan online, especially Twitter, where it's where I talk about almost exclusively. And which means you get trolls and just, it's amazing the low IQ of the generic sports fan online. Yes. You're like, go Mariners, and they'll be like, gay. And you're like, really? Okay. I mean, that's, but I have, in my years of hopefully growing as a human, I don't really hate any fan base. I even Ducks and Yankees and I don't really. Maybe it's just because I tour all these cities and I got to play nice. But also they're just normal people who want the same thing that I do, which is to, I really wanted the Mariners to win for my dad and my son. And I know the bunch of happy dads and sons in Toronto because of this. So, but I really do love the idea to try and get me, an outsider, to make jokes about their teams that they laugh at. That's the goal. That's where they can just go, dang it, that was a good joke. Like I did in San Francisco this last week. I had a joke where I a lot of time I'll like kind of just like roast the sports towns. And I did a joke about the Warriors, about how, after 13 years together, the Splash Brothers broke up, and they ended the way most friendships in California do. They both turned 30 and one of them moves to Texas, and they're like, okay, you got us. Or the Giants one I did was like, you guys have been 500 for 4 years. This is the closest San Francisco has to a middle class. And just that reluctant laugh where they're like, he got us. And that's what I really aim for, other than just like, your team sucks. Like, all right. I mean, part of that's because I'm a Mariners fan. I don't got anything to really brag about. So I'm always punching up.
We on this show, at least, will be there for any 49ers fans jokes you make. Although I would caution you there's violence in that fan base. So make sure that one hits okay.
Oh yeah. No, the one I did, I don't know if you saw on TikTok, it's a little bit of a prop joke, but I recently broke my ankle. And that was the joke that I made on stage, is I know this is weird that a Seahawks fan is wearing 49ers paraphernalia. And by that, I mean an ankle brace. And they're like, dang it. And that's what I aim for. I had one that I did in Eugene. I mean, as a Husky fan, to get ducks laughing at that stuff, you want it to come from a place of like love of sport. And that's what I have, is just a love of sport, you know. And I don't know. That's why, like, you know, like when there was a sense of me that when those boos came down on Springer, or those cheers, I was like, oh no, guys, don't do this. We're not a successful enough franchise to weather this. We can't be bad guys. We can't be wrestling heels. We haven't earned that yet, you guys. Don't do this. And I don't know. I don't know if you were feeling the same way, but I actually had muted the TV. Yeah. And the next day when he came up, I was like, oh, this is gone. There was a sense, I muted it because I'm like, I just don't want to hear the cheers. You know?
I very much relate. And yeah, I think some people doubled down on it online. That wasn't a great look. I know we only got you for a couple more minutes. Not only do you have a show coming up, you've got a great podcast. How you do it with your wife.
Very different than this. We don't talk about sports at all. It's called Don't Make Me Come Back There. And it's a funny podcast about family. So if you want something very different than Hawk Blogger, then but
most people do. Most people do.
Yeah.
So they're dying for an alternative. So I try to bring them some. So
yeah.
Dustin, I really appreciate you taking the time. You know, I know that folks are looking for ways to kind of heal after that pain, and I highly recommend that they check out your stuff because it's feel good. I think people refer to it as clean but mean, and I love that combination.
Oh yeah, I did get that before. Yeah. Hopefully not too mean.
All right, awesome. Dustin Nickerson, make sure you check him out at the Neptune and check out his podcast. Thanks for coming on, Dustin.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you having me.
All right, that was Dustin Nickerson. You know what? Like, you got to have some fun. You got to laugh, because if not, why the hell are we doing all this? We're obsessing about people throwing a ball, catching a ball, kicking a ball, you know, moving it 1 inch or not moving it 1 inch. It's all silliness at the end. I mean, I care about it more than any reasonable person should. We all do that are watching this show or participating in this show. And there's been enough pain in being a sports fan of the teams I cheer for that, man, you got to figure out some coping mechanisms. You got to figure out how to get back to center when things go the wrong way. And they did for the Mariners. Thankfully, the Seahawks are going in the other direction right now, which helps, and certainly helped for me, at least on Monday night. And now we get a little bit of a break. Gosh, if they had both lost and we had this bye week to just sit here in our misery, that would have been awful. So that probably contributed to the amount of stress I felt about the way the Seahawks were trying every single way to blow that game in the second half, and often in the first half, and still managed to come out on top. So, you know, I'm pretty bullish on where things are going with the Seahawks. I've been very hard on them in my post Monday night evaluation, and I don't think that will change. But that conversation with Cody, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, because honestly, I hadn't really thought through the nickel and dime transition that we're probably going to see once Devin Witherspoon and Julian Love come back after the bye. But the concept of Nicky Manwari, Devin Witherspoon, both playing at the same time and both playing inside, while you've got two boundary corners who you assume are going to be Reek Woolen and Josh Jobe. But maybe if Reek Woolen gets moved, you know, maybe that's somebody else. At this point, I think that's a reason why they might keep Tariq Woolen, right? Like, part of the logic of, hey, they might move on was when Witherspoon comes back, there might not be a spot for Tariq Woolen because Devin Witherspoon would be the little nickel. If he's in little nickel, they might, if there was talk for a while that Darian Kendrick might be the little nickel, and now they're not even playing little nickel. Nicky Manwari already is the nickel, and he's kind of out there all the time. When they're in nickel, it's been Devin Witherspoon and Josh Jobe that have been the boundary corners. That would imply that Reek Woolen wouldn't play at all. But now, if they're going to be playing a lot of dime, then you have a spot for Reek Woolen and Josh Jobe and Devin Witherspoon and Nicky Manwari and Kobe Bryant and Julian Love. And I agree with Cody Alexander that those are part of your best 11. That's going to mean less Drake Thomas, which also is something that, Drake Thomas, I thought had a really nice game. This past 2 games have been, I think, really good games. And for him to be a guy that you're only playing when you need to, that's good situation. And you've got Tyrese Knight behind him. You basically have Ernest Jones out there as your only linebacker when they're in dime. It's a fascinating evolution that I think we're probably going to see. And the fact of the matter is the NFL hasn't seen it yet because they've only played 4 snaps together all year. So you're going to have them go into Washington after the bye and show people something that hasn't been on film, which I love. And they get this entire bye week plus next week to self-scout, evaluate, game plan. They get to watch Washington play this week. We don't know what Jaden Daniels' situation is. And I tweeted last night, Vegas Insider still has what is apparently the old odds for that game against Washington. They had Washington as 5.5-point favorites. I was like, what is going on? Every book was at like 5 or 5.5 points. And I'm like, what am I missing here? How are the Seahawks their biggest underdog they've been all year? The biggest underdog the Seahawks have been all season was 3.5-point road dogs to the Steelers. They won that game pretty convincingly. They haven't been underdogs since, by the way. Vegas and the odds have been favoring the Seahawks in all these games. And that doesn't mean that they've won all those games, right? They lost to the Bucks, but they have been favored in all of these games. So it turns out that those were old odds and that the Seahawks, I think, are favored between 2.5 and 3.5, something like that. And I think we'll find out more what happens with Jaden Daniels, which will 100% massively affect those odds. I see there's a super chat here. Let me get to that. Joey Walker says, I'm a youth coach and came across Cody's video on how to defend the wing T offense. We shut out the other team and the kids thought I was a genius. Thanks, coach. I will make sure Cody hears about that. I love it. That's awesome. Excuse me. I've been feeling that sneeze coming for like a half an hour, ready to mute, and it just surprised me. It got me, folks. So sorry for those listening, but couldn't control it. There's a couple things. There's one of the things I wanted to talk about before I wrap up today. Before I do that, I want to make sure you head over to simplyseattle.com. simplyseattle.com for all your Seattle sports gear. Code HawkBlogger15 still works for 15% off, whether it's Seahawks gear, Mariners gear, Huskies, Kraken, Storm, whatever it is you love from Seattle sports. You can get 15% off at simplyseattle.com using code HawkBlogger15. You can also go to jkboots.com and jkboots.com/HawkBlogger. Get the best boots you will ever own. I'm telling you, you are going to love these boots. Your feet are going to feel amazing. You're going to look great. And you can get a great deal on these. Seattle, a Washington-based company over in Spokane, family-owned. We also have been supporting the Wildland Firefighters Foundation to help protect Northwest forests from fire. So make sure you take advantage at jkboots.com/hawkblogger. And of course, the Sleeper app. Make sure you download this. Get all your fantasy sports news, get your real-time stats, visualization, talk with your buddies. And for a limited time, no deposit required, and you still can get $20 just for signing up. Also, if you use promo code HAWKS, you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.